My career has almost been an accident. Black women in particular receive 0.02% of funding. You know things are going to change. You know that things will never be the same because the only constant thing in life is change. Just say yes and figure it out. No one wants to fail. But you have to just try it. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You have to keep on going even when you want to stop. You might see me as an underdog, but just watch me fly.
What if the very decisions that define you are shaped by unseen layers of who you are and what you stand for?
Today, we dissect how personal identity, ambition, and a relentless yes mentality impacts your cognitive load and ultimately your most powerful decisions. Welcome to Decisions That Count. I'm neuroscientist Dr. Shawn Watson.
And I'm Michelle O'Brien. Our guest, Natalie Duvall, is a powerhouse from Red Bull to co-founding March Muses and hosting Black Mums Upfront. She embodies this multi-hyphenate life, shaping culture, family, and purpose.
Today, we'll explore the unique cognitive load faced by individuals navigating diverse demands, the resilience built through overcoming obstacles, and how decision fatigue impacts high-stakes choices. Get ready for an inspiring conversation on identity, authenticity, and making every decision count in every facet of your life.
Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And we're very excited because we're in London today. Different set from usual.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's so good to be here.
Yeah, in my hometown. This is it. I'm London, born and bred.
Yeah.
So this is me.
And we've been teaching Shawn how to speak proper English.
I'm here to translate the conversation into English.
Into English, yeah. Teaching him all the good words. Oh, okay. Look, I just want to get straight into this because you are a woman after my own heart.
Thank you.
I would just love to kind of go back a little bit and maybe talk about the decisions that define you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think before, when we spoke earlier, we spoke a little bit about your grandparents. Let's go back.
I mean, what a decision that was. My grandparents came over as part of the Windrush generation. So they were invited by the UK to come over to London from Jamaica to help kind of backfill some of the roles that had kind of been missing, especially during like the world wars that had been happening. So help build the NHS. They needed bus drivers, they needed nurses, lots of different roles that they were being offered. And at age 20, my grandparents left Jamaica, this beautiful hot island, to come over to London or the UK, with this beautiful grey cold island. So they did an island swap, and that was with minimal knowledge of actually what it was to be in the UK. It's not like when I think about moving countries now, I can sit down, I can research, I can Google, I can speak to people who are in those areas, I can Instagram it, I can tweet it, I can ask so many different questions. And I sometimes think, wow, they did that on minimal knowledge, just with the fact that they wanted a different route for their family. They wanted a different legacy for their family. They wanted different opportunities for their family. And I'm forever grateful for it because I definitely have seen the effects it's had on our family versus maybe some of my family that are still in Jamaica, that their grandparents or their family didn't actually make that leap. So it's definitely the boldest choice of my history and my story is my grandparents coming over.
And they came over on a boat?
Well, my granddad came over on a boat. My grandma is she was very bougie and she came via plane.
Very what, sorry?
Bougie. It's another word that you don't know. she's what would they call her? Back in the day they would say uppity. But she was she's a glamour
finer things.
Yeah, she's a fan of things.
Okay.
She wasn't doing a boat for, I don't know how long they were on it for, maybe 6 weeks or something. She was like, no, I'll take a plane.
Flying.
She flew over, but she also had quite a nice role. She was working with the Jamaica embassy. So she was working with the High Commissioner. So she was very entrepreneurial, she started off as a secretary and worked her way up into the role with the High Commissioner that enabled her to get a plane over to the UK and still work with the High Commissioner in the UK. So that was her route. My granddad took the boat. And so he took the 6-week journey and sailed. And then they they reunited in London and then started their family.
And how do you think that shaped you?
Oh, I'm forever grateful. Number one, I think it shaped everyone in my family. So we know that what we have, and there's highs and lows with everything. So there's highs and lows with being here, but the highs definitely outweigh the lows, and it has given us all a sense of purpose, a sense of being, that we come from this line of like family who take chances, who go above and beyond to do something different, who are entrepreneurial in their own spirit in terms of taking that leap and trying something new. When my granddad came over here, he near the end of his life, or end of his working career, he was a lawyer. So he started off as a 20-year-old, probably doing like jobs here and there, and by the end of by the time he retired in his 70s, he was a lawyer, doing I think it was house and conveying and stuff like that. So it's just amazing to see just where you can start and where you can end up with a bit of purpose, with a bit of vision. And they were there as a unit as well. So it was great.
I love that, from kind of where they started to where they ended up.
I love that story as well, because it just makes you think about it. It gets you up in the morning. Like if they could do that, then what's your excuse, kind of thing.
Yeah, my grandparents were immigrants as well, Irish. Came over probably a similar sort of time to yours.
I mean, we're the same. It was no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. That was like that was the mantra here. It was like, so we were all kind of outcast.
Yeah, and then I think up north though, like they didn't have the same opportunities. Like my granddad was like a labourer, and my grandma kind of part-time cleaner in office work, and that was kind of it really for like their whole lives. And my dad, seeing that, just worked so hard to get them out of poverty and get himself out of poverty, and became kind of an aviation engineer, and and just did great, I
think there's something about the underdogs, and we're always trying to prove that we are not, and that you might see me as an underdog, but just watch me fly. And it's that sense of like, yes, we're trying to prove it not only to you but to ourselves, that we are more than what you see us as. And whether we knowingly know we're doing it, or we're outwardly doing it, there's that sense of like proving people wrong, I think is always in our DNA.
I always say to Aaron, there's it's like almost like a hunger, or kind of that's just you just see it in people. You just see that there's something different,
Have you had a decision like that in your life? So, I mean, maybe not as dramatic as getting on a boat, but a moment like that when you made a decision that, looking back, you're like, that changed everything?
I mean, I'm a mum of two. So, I have two daughters they're now aged 11 and 14. I was pregnant at 27 with my first child, and 27 is quite young.
It is.
It's not, but it is. I wasn't really particularly working. I was doing lots of like freelance stuff and here, there. I've been with my partner for a while. So in terms of that was working. So that wasn't a problem. But it's the fact that, am I ready to really change everything for this person that's growing inside me? And it was a big decision, because it's going to change. When people say, you'll be fine. Yes, you will be fine, but things are going to change. That things will never be the same, which is fine, because the only constant thing in life is change. But it's that was a huge decision, I think. Like both of those decisions of like, when I got pregnant again at 30, I was like, oh my God, do I want two under the age of 3? Is this my journey now? And because you lose yourself so much as a mother, that it's going to take you ages to find your way back, no matter what. Your body's going to change, your mindset's going to change. You're now living for this other person. So that decision, I think, is a big one, because the first 27 years of my life, you're quite selfish. It's all about you and about what you want to do and like what your career is going to be. And then you have to start really thinking about this other person. And some people take to it better than others, but it's something that you can't avoid when you have kids.
Yeah, I don't think I've thought it through.
And sometimes you shouldn't even think it, just do it. Because sometimes when you overthink it, it becomes you overthink it to death, and then you're just like, oh, now you don't know what you're doing, because you've put too much thought into it, and sometimes you just do.
Yeah, with the second one, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
Because if I have time to stop and really think about this, it's not happening.
Yeah, I was the same. I was like, you know what, I've done one. Let's just do it. Let's just go with it. And I'm thankful, although they are the most challenging of my life. But I'm so thankful for them, and they're so funny and they're so great. But yeah, it's those big decisions that you have to make that's going to change your life.
Yeah,
Everything. Mm-hmm.
Change it for the better, though.
Of course.
But it is.
You have to say that. We're on
camera. On camera. I know, but I've been so excited about this week in London because I'm like, it's like I'm back in my 20s again. There's no husband, no kids.
Yeah.
I'm like,
but you'll be in bed by like 8.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you're still thinking about them. You're like, oh God, I hope they're wearing like clothes and not pajamas out, and all this kind of thing. Like,
so I just need my husband to feed them one vegetable this week. Just one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Exactly. And you're still doing the mental load of like, oh, I've got to book them in for this, or I've got to make sure that they're doing this. And like, even when you're not with them, you're still with them.
Yeah. And I'm like, just do not take them to see Superman, the movie. I was like, they're 4 and 6. It's not appropriate. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about the mental load of that, because you've got your fingers in lots of pies.
Yeah,
there's a little bit about what's
pies, I think,
going on.
So many pies. So obviously my corporate life, doing events and culture marketing at the biggest energy drink in the world. It gives you wings. Also a podcaster with Black Mums Upfront, so speaking about Black maternal health, or just putting Black women into the forefront. So in the UK for a very long time, Black women were just they didn't exist, and our stats are stacked against us. We're 4 times more likely to die in childbirth. We are 5 times more likely to lose our baby in childbirth. Horrible, horrible statistics. Even in entrepreneurship, Black women receive 0.02% of funding. 0.02%. Whenever you're looking at Black female stats, it is always the lowest of the low. So Black Mums Upfront was a love letter to Black women. It was 5 of us, and we just spoke about Black, and just not even just Black, just spoke about what we were going through, what others were going through, what we just put things on the map. And it was it's a great kind of platform to platform laughs and tears and wins, and it's a community as well. And actually we realized that we had a lot of non-Black mums listening, because A, they wanted to be allies, B, they just loved the chat, and C, it was inclusive, because yes, we're talking about this, but these are things that you should know, because if you don't know it and you're going to be my ally in those spaces, I need you to be able to talk for me if I can't talk for myself. And so it's that responsibility that we love when women are happy to take that on. And then obviously my little baby, March Muses, which is a small business that has gone big, that I co-founded with my good friend Alison. And it started off as, again, a love letter to my children, in terms of they didn't see decorations that looked like them. Black angels, Black Santa. Christmas decorations we're talking about. And it was my eldest who asked me that question, can angels have brown skin? Because she'd never seen an angel with brown skin. And we couldn't find any on the market. And so we started a brand where that question never needs to be asked again. Can angels have brown skin? Yes, they can. And that's
I like hearing it from you.
The truth. And that's the thing. And that started in 2019 and has just grown and grown over the last 5 years. And now it's a teenager. So it was a baby, it's a teenager now, so there's a lot of teenage angst still, and we're still trying to push through, but it's something that we are so proud of, and something that my children are so proud of, and the community are so proud of, and so it makes us so proud. So yeah, those are a lot of pies.
And you're a mum.
And I'm a mum of 2. I'm the eldest sibling as well, so although I've got 2 younger siblings, I feel like I'm their mother as well. When you're the oldest child in the family, there's a lot of responsibility on you when you're the oldest child. So I've got a younger brother and a younger sister, and yeah, I'm Miss Bossy Boots. So that's me.
That how you get. Is that a term that baffled you then?
I understand that.
Okay, you understand that one. Okay, just checking. And so Is that how you get it done? By being Miss Fozzie Boots?
I do like to be in charge. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I do like to know what's going on and like to be the first to do something and to make sure that things are done in a certain way. And this is one of the problems that I have. So handing it over to other people is a bit of an issue for me because I'm just like, well, I could just do it myself. And this is a problem. This is how burnout happens. This is how the overload happens. And this is how you don't necessarily get the best of me because I'm doing everything myself too much. And so sharing that load is something that I am learning to do. And even like my managers will say, give it to that person. Let them do it. You focus on this. And I'm like, yeah. But I don't know. It's just something in me that I feel like I need to do it. But it's something I'm learning.
Yeah.
To try and let go of.
I think we're so passionate about something. It's just so hard though, isn't it?
It's so hard and it's so personal. I take everything so personally and I need to, again, not. But I do. Like if I'm doing an event and like, oh, we haven't sold enough tickets, I'm taking it personally, like people aren't coming to my own wedding. That's what it feels like. Or if it's with March Muses, it's so personal to me. Yeah. It's so personal to me because I was actually angry that I couldn't find a decoration. And in that year, we actually used a Barbie doll at the top of the tree as a fairy because at least Barbie had been working on their diversity range. And so they had a great diverse range. I'm like, okay, well, if Barbie can do it, then we should be able to just find these small items of decorations. And we're talking about mythical creatures. We're talking about angels. We're talking about, when you think of an angel, that could be a light. It could be a feather, or it could be an actual figure with wings. Why does that figure have to be blue eye, blonde hair with wings? Why can't it be brown skin? Like, why can't it have dreads? Like all these different things. It just got me angry. And when I get angry, I'm just like, I get extra passionate because again, I want to prove you wrong and be like, no, this can happen.
Yeah.
So it's a gift and a curse.
I want to pull that apart a bit because, like, I find it. We always in this podcast we talk a lot about decision fatigue. Basically, just where we've become overwhelmed with decisions in our life that it's tough to we just hit this physical limit and decision making becomes hard. To make a decision to start this company, which is wildly impactful and fantastic, right? Like it makes me kind of sad because there's maybe a lot of people in the world who are just have decision fatigue and they're overwhelmed and they can't make space to make that wonderful decision to do something to change the world, right? And it doesn't need to be the whole world, but it can be a world that is changed. So Natalie, if you can just take us through, how do you make, because you're working, you're a mom, all these different things, how did you make space to make that decision to start the company? Like, just walk me through that.
I think it became a necessity. I think it became personal. And I think when things become personal, I just feel like it needs to be done. But there's some things, so I can start a business and I can create change. But after a long day coming home and trying to think, oh, what are we going to eat? I can't decide that. And it's so stressful. Yeah. And I can do all these things. And then, Mum, what's for dinner? Oh my God, I don't know. And I literally go through my brain of like, okay, we had spaghetti bolognese on Monday. We had chicken and rice yesterday. Like I struggle with that every single day of like, and it's something so simple, really. Like it's something that we all need to do every single day. It hasn't changed since I was born that we need to have breakfast, lunch and dinner. And yet I find it probably one of the hardest decisions to make every day, what we're going to eat for dinner.
Yeah.
And I hate it. But I guess because food maybe isn't a passion of mine, it's a necessity. But starting this business, it was passion and it was purpose. And it felt like, if not you, then who?
Well, that's the thing, is you took responsibility for it.
If not you, then who? And that's just always been my mentality. If you're not going to do it, then who else is going to do it? If no one else is touching it, then like do it. And I wish I could fix the world. I look at some of the things that are happening right now in the world. I'm just like, sit there thinking, what can I do to fix it? And that's just how my brain works. I'm just like, I don't want to just repost something on Instagram. I want to actively do something. So that's where I feel like, if I can't fix this problem, let me just try and fix this problem. Let me just try and do something here, because this is just so big that I don't know what to do with it, but at least I can do something here. And that's just, I think that's just how I've been brought up. That's just the way I am. And that's how I'm bringing up my children. They love to kind of fight for what's right, including me, when I'm like, they love a debate. But my eldest, her report came home and it said, she's very good at speaking up for her friends and fighting for what's right. And I absolutely loved that in her report. I was like, yes, because if she sees something that doesn't work, she's going to say something. And so we all need to be a little bit like that, I think.
Yeah, I love that. And I think I just want to kind of come back to the dreaded end of day question, which is when I walk in the door and I'm like, don't ask me what's for dinner, and that is because of decision fatigue. You know, you've got a limited number of good decisions that you can make in a day, and they're spent.
I'm at that point where I'm like, I don't know, and I don't care at this point. Like
of the 5 meals that's on repeat,
yeah, what's the easiest and where can we get it from?
Can I just get Deliveroo, or should we just have toast?
Oh, listen, I always say that. I say that to my mum. I was like, you know, if it was just me by myself, I would literally have scrambled egg. Like
you'd have a girl dinner
every day. Like I was having omelette every day, and it wouldn't even be a problem. But because I've got to feed these young minds and these young people who are growing, they need vegetables and they need fruit and they need all this kind of thing. I'm like, that responsibility is probably the most like hard, like, oh my gosh, make sure that they're eating more than any other responsibility that I have. And I've got some big responsibilities working with some big budgets and some big artists, and my business is big. We're in Tesco. Like, I've got some big decisions to make, but that's probably the one that gives me the most stress.
But it's because it's emotional, right? Like you girls are the most important things in your whole world. And that decision to make sure they're eating properly is going to affect their health, not just in that moment, but like long term. And so that's like an emotionally fueled decision. Yeah. And therefore that makes that decision even harder, especially when you're in that decision fatigue state. Yeah.
And I love it when I've cooked a meal that they love. Yeah. So when I've cooked a meal that they absolutely love, it feeds my soul. And then I feel a bit guilty when it's like a bit of a crappy meal that I haven't really put that much effort in. As a Black family, like Black culture, Caribbean culture is surrounded by food. Food is the center, you know, that home cooked soul food kind of vibe, Christmas time. Like it's a whole thing. So I want to make sure that my children experience that as well, because I definitely did with my mum. She was the cook, and to this day she's like, grandma's food is like the food. So yeah, I want to be remembered for that as well with my kids. Like I want them to remember me with lots of different like hats on.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've learned, or I've learned on the podcast, is the what for dinner question is not about food as much as all the other thoughts that's put into it, especially as a mom, like the nutrition, all that stuff. Yeah.
It's a lot to it's a lot to think about.
Huge. Yeah. I learned that from this podcast. Yeah.
I would talk a little bit about the paradox of two things can be true at the same time. I know kind of we'd spoke about this on a previous call. You know, we've spoke about kind of how energized you can be with all of these businesses, right? Like on all the things that you're doing, like they're passionate and you're emotional and they've got purpose, but they can be a lot.
Yeah. It's that gift and the curse thing. I think sometimes, especially with March Muses, we are a product of our own success in terms of we have some great wins, but they can also come with a lot of stress and a lot of like, it's great to have done that, but now because we're here, we've got to do all of this now. So it's that gift and that curse. Yeah. I remember one time they showed us on a morning television show. It's called Lorraine. It's really good in the UK. And she showed our stuff. And that day, I think we brought in about maybe £10,000 to £12,000 in revenue from our decorations, which was a gift. The curse was that we were still doing it from our kitchens. And so it took us, I think, and it was me, my mum, my business partner, Alison, her mum, my friends came over. We all did it. We were in year 2. So we were still from our kitchens and we were doing it. And it took us maybe 10 days to just get through. And we had to actually close the website down for a second so that we could catch up. And again, we lost lots of money by doing that because we couldn't catch ourselves up, because in that 1 hour, we received so many orders, we didn't know what to do with ourselves. So we were so happy, but also so sad at the same time. Yeah. So I think that gift and the curse thing, I really believe in that. Like, two things can definitely be true at the same time. Like we're talking about, like you can win, but you can still feel like it's a loss because of all the things that come with that win.
Yeah. What are your ambitions for March Muses?
We want to be like the Disney of, of everything.
Starting small.
Yeah, that's where it started. No, do you know what? We started off as Christmas decorations, And now we've moved into like lifestyle objects as well. So we're looking at like what we look like outside of Christmas, because Christmas is amazing, but what do we do throughout the rest of the year? And we've got some great partners in Tesco, Selfridges, Liberty London, who are all kind of helping us with that. What does our always on look like? And eventually we want to just build this amazing brand where when you want to celebrate diversity, you can. And you can do it on the high street level. You don't need to go to a specialist website or anything like that. It is accessible for everyone. So it's, the gift of celebrating diversity by diversifying the celebrations that we all celebrate, whether that's birthdays, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, any moment of celebration, or whether that's just celebrating you. We're called March Muses because I'm born in March, along with my business partner, and Muse is to be inspired by. And so we want you to feel inspired, like when you have anything from our range, to know that this is for you by someone who might either look like you or represent something that you really, really want to kind of lead into. And we are the brand. So, we were talking earlier, like you can't be a faceless brand in this day and age. You need to be the brand. With AI and all these things kind of popping up, people need to believe in what they're buying into. And so they need to believe in your purpose and your story. And that's where the authenticity comes in. And without that, it's very hard to build a brand in this day and age. Back in the day, it was much more easier. But now you need to be that brand. So we're building our brand identity along with us to try and, be as more global as possible. And it's working. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So it's going to take time. We're about to hit year 6. And so we know it's going to take time. And I think even me working at one of the biggest, energy drink companies in the world, they've been going since 1984. So it's taken them to this point to get to where they are. And I love looking at that journey, because sometimes I think you've become an entrepreneur and it should be instant. And for some people, it might be, depending on, how they've done it, if they were already a face in the news, all that kind of stuff. But for majority of people starting a business, it is a slow burn, and you have to keep on going even when you want to stop.
Consistency.
Oh my gosh.
Most important thing.
Without a doubt. And that's why you need to have passion and purpose in that. Otherwise you will quit. Because there've been a few times where it was like we've looked at each other and gone, oh God, this is really hard. And then we've looked at our children, and then we've looked at our community, and we're like, okay, but it doesn't matter. Let's just keep on going. Like we're determined to just keep on going. And that's where the purpose comes in.
It'd be amazing to see this go global. But at some point there's going to be a decision, right? You'll got a decision to focus on this, because you can't do everything.
Yeah. That decision will come when it comes.
Yeah.
I think I'm a big believer on, like, everyone knows their limit. And when you think you're at your limit, sometimes you're not. You just think you are. And I think, one of my good friends, she was not in a very good relationship. And I remember saying to her, at what point are you going to leave? Like, at what point are you going to, like, just stop this? Because this is getting ridiculous now. And she was like, everyone has their deal breakers, and it hasn't happened yet. And then it did happen. And I was like, that was your deal breaker. She was like, yeah, that was it. And it took her a while. It wasn't like a quick thing. That took her like a few years. But I think everyone has their deal breaker of like, all right, that's it. But you don't know until you're there.
Yeah. And I think you could say it's one thing, but then it's another, and it's just how you feel.
Yeah.
It's like,
and sometimes it's not the thing that you thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And
it's just actually, that's interesting. I thought that this was going to be the thing that broke me, but actually it's this. Yeah. So this is good thing. So yeah, I think that's life. And that's quite interesting about life. Like, it comes in ebbs and flows, and you have to figure out at what point are you going to change direction. I'm a creature of habit. I like to keep things going. I'm not big on change. Yeah. I like, if I have a certain thing that I've done, I like to keep on doing it. Yeah. So that's, again, something that I'm learning, like how to be happy with change, because I know it's constant, but I'm not big on change.
I have that though. I'd rather add something in than take it away.
Yes.
Like if I've started something, I want to see it. I want to see it.
And that's probably why I've got so many pies, because like I don't like to get rid of it. I like to. Yeah. I'm the same. I like to add to it, and really, I should have just been like, okay, let's stop this so we can focus on this. But I hold on, and I think that's again a gift and a curse.
I've got the same. I've got another podcast called Upward Spiral, and it's all about life after alcohol.
Yeah.
And 55 episodes in, and I've put it on hiatus because we really have got to focus on, we're launching a new product in September, and work life, but it's just this part of me that's like itching to get back to it, because I've invested so much and I love it, and it's a passion. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, it's hard to let go of stuff that was actually working, but then you just had to shift your focus slightly.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's just being one of those people that's like, I'd much rather add to the plate than take anything away from it.
That's a really good like that is me actually. When you said that, I was like, yes, that's my problem. I add to it rather than stop it.
And it's just everything. I don't know if you've ever done your human design, but like I'm a generator, which means I generate my own energy from things that I'm really into and I'm really passionate about. Like, you can't stop me. If you make me do something I don't want to do, it drains my energy. Yeah. So then if all of a sudden you're finding these projects that you just love so much and you're generating energy from them, it's very, very hard then to walk away.
It's hard to let go.
Yeah. Maybe to both of you, how do you manage your time? Or no, how do you manage your decisions? So like when for March Muses, when is that in your day? Like how do you find the space to make the decisions for that project?
It's ongoing. I think we know when our busy times are, number one. So we know that Christmas Q4 was a very busy time. So we know that from September to January, it's crazy talk. Mm-hmm. And then up until then, it's more just kind of ad hoc and wholesale and just making decisions, designing stuff. I think it's about also having people, which we can do now, which we couldn't do in the past. But like we've got like an amazing designer. We've got someone who does admin. We've got an accountant. So we've been smart with how we've delegated some of these roles. But on a day-to-day, the same way that I would call my mum on a day-to-day is how I call Alison, my business partner. So, I speak to my mum in the morning and then I speak to Alison in the morning just to make sure that we're connected and like we know, okay, this needs to be done or that needs to be done. I struggle with the life-work balance. Like, it's a real struggle. I also think it's a myth as well. I just think there is no work-life. It's not a balance. It's you're balancing you're trying to balance the scale, but you're never going to get the scale to be balanced at all. I think there's always going to be something that you have dropped. There's going to be a ball that you've dropped, whether that's you missed sports day or you missed this deadline or you forgot to pay this bill. Like something is gonna it's not going to be completed, and that again is just life. No one's perfect 100% of the time. And they always talk about if you heard the analogy about the table, and it's got like the 4 pillars of the table, and you've got your friendship, you've got your work, you've got your love life, and you've got family. And you can never get all 4. Something's like the table's always going to be a bit lopsided because maybe, and this is true, like I speak to my friends, but I haven't seen my friends for a long time because I've been in the world of work and in the world of my kids, or like I haven't focused on my love life in a long time because I need to see my friends. Like you can't do everything, and so it is a balancing act. But I definitely feel like that work-life balance is a struggle for most people.
I want to talk about you girls. So you've got 2 teenage girls.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I just remember my teenage years.
Yeah.
How are you raising them to be amazing decision makers? Make good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good question, and one that I'm still learning how to do. I think teenagers now have a very hard way of living. If I was a teenager in this day and age, I would hate it with Instagram and more social media and phones and access, and it's not the teenage. I was born in the 80s. It's not how I grew up. Even the other day I was telling my daughter about Blockbusters and what we used to do, and she was so confused. She was like, so what, you have to take the video back? I was like, yes. And she goes, and you had to, what do you mean rewind it? Because they don't understand. They're just like, just press play. What are you rewinding? I said, I had to rewind. Doesn't it just do that? Like just having to explain all those things, like the struggle. And it's only when I talk about it, I'm like, God, we were struggling out here. But like with most things, there is no rule book to how you raise your kids. I think a lot of the time you base it on like your the person that you are at that moment. I know for a fact that my eldest daughter and my youngest daughter have been raised by two completely different women. So me as a 27-year-old versus having my first daughter versus me as a tired 30-year-old or 31-year-old having my second daughter, those are two completely different women.
Yeah.
So they've both been raised very differently. And also like that first child, you know, it's the first child and you do everything. You go to baby massage, you do this, you do that. The second child, you're like, oh God, I'm not doing baby massage today. And they just get like the leftovers from like the eldest child. So I completely get why sometimes those, you know, middle child syndrome, last child syndrome, why they have those. But I parent based on who I am at that moment. I think I'm a very fun mum, and I always say I'm a very cool mum. And I ask them often, you think I'm a cool mum? And they're like, you don't, if you say that you're a cool mum, it means that you're not cool. I'm like, fine. But like, I took them to like a scissor concert the other day. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. They're like, I guess so. I'm like, oh gosh. So, yeah, I think it just depends on the day, how I parent. But what I am proud is that they are really funny, fun, confident girls, and I'm always surprised by that sometimes. And the way they talked, like they're both starting new schools. They had to go and have their interview, and I had to sit next to them. And I thought I was going to have to kind of step in. I didn't have to say anything. And I was just like, who are these kids? Like, this is amazing. And so you're proud of that. Yeah. And I think my mum says that to me all the time, because she'll see all the things that I'm doing, and her friends and her people will message my mum, be like, God, look at Natalie, look at all the things that she's doing. And my mum's like, God, was that me? Did I?
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? But it is. And like, whether you know it or it's subconscious, it's a part of like how we've all been brought up.
Yeah. But they're seeing you do it, and then they're like, okay, mum's doing it. So, you know, I've got this.
Absolutely. Like my eldest said, oh, she wants to start a business. I was like, oh, that sounds good. On what? And I can't remember what she said. I'm like, okay, well then just start. But even just that mentality, that thought process of like, I want to start something.
I can do it.
I can do it. It's like, yeah, you can do it because you saw me start a business. So and she's like, oh, I'm thinking of ideas. It could be, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And I'll support whatever they want to do. And I think that's the thing. They feel very supported. So I feel like they can do almost anything because they feel like they are so confident and comfortable in our ecosystem and with all of our family and friends that they're like, of course we can do that. I'm like, why wouldn't we do that? So yeah, it's good.
That was so insightful. Sorry, I have to go back. I've never heard anybody, because I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so I'm like in the mix. But how you said like I'm like two different women.
Oh God, yeah. You have to think about it.
You're totally right. I never thought about that, because I'm always like, oh, my youngest is so different. But I never thought it's like, wait, I'm a totally different dad
to how you were for your eldest.
And it's absolutely true. I've never thought about that before. Yeah,
I always thought it was different because I've got a boy and a girl. So, and it's just like 9.
Which you would parent differently anyway, because they have different needs. But then you are a different person to where you were a year ago.
Totally different.
Yeah, and it's a different like environment. You have different financials happening, a different like, you know, likes and dislikes. Like you've had different experiences. And so you go into certain things in a different way.
Yeah. And I feel like the older you get, the wiser you get every year as well, right? Like, you know,
sometimes I don't know if it's wise, and I'm just like beaten down.
Yeah, it's like there's no choice now. This is just how it's gonna go.
Yeah. More cynical. I'm just getting more optimistic. The older I'm getting, the more I'm feeling like the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing what's possible.
Yeah. Exactly, you know? Which again is a gift and a curse, because I find we do this thing at work called Your Strengths, and I have one of my strengths is futuristic.
This is the Gallup Strength Finder.
Yes, Gallup Strengths Finder, and it's very good. I'm very much into it, and because I like horoscopes and stuff like that, so this was like right up my street. And so there's 29 strengths, and you've got your top 5, and so my top 5 is like I've got positivity, which I've got woo, which is winning others over.
Oh, you've got
I've got communication.
Woo?
It's good at winning others over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that stands for.
Yeah.
I've got achiever, like get stuff done.
Yeah.
And then my favorite is futuristic.
Yeah.
And I can see what's going to happen before it happens. Like I know that this is going to do this, or I know that this is a bad idea, and I'm going to say, I told you so. Yeah. So I definitely have that strength of like, I know what's going to happen before it happens. And I think it's that's what makes it so, again, a gift and a curse kind of thing. It makes me a bit like a know-it-all, but also I do know. I knew I knew this was gonna happen, so I use that quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Is this a real? Like, is this a?
You can do it.
Gallup Strength Finder. Has Aaron not made you do it yet?
No.
So Aaron's the CEO, the third part
It's
kind
so
of startup,
good.
and he loves it.
Yeah.
And he's ex-Red Bull as well, and so yeah, and Tim makes me do it every couple of years.
Yes,
So
so
it's 'cause
many
they
people have
change.
done it with their partners as
Yeah.
well, which is so amazing. Which because you understand, it's almost like a love language thing. Like you get to understand the other person and like how their brain works and what they think. It's really, you can just get it online. It's very clever.
We'll do it, and then it changes though as well.
Oh, okay.
Like as in the older you get,
as
like
you
they
would.
do change.
Things always
okay, like
change,
your results
yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's brilliant.
Hmm.
Just coming back to you girls and that kind of idea, that future, you know, future, being able to see the future a little bit. How are you going to manage you girls making bad decisions? So you know that maybe what they're doing, you're going to, let me phrase this a little bit of a different way. You see them making a bad decision. Do you step in and let them make it and learn from it? Or do you step in and try to stop it, you know?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
It really does depend on what that decision is. It's so funny. So my business partner, so her daughter's going to a summer camp next week, but she didn't want to go to the summer camp. And she's like, I'm not going to know anyone, or I'm, you know, it's just, I don't want to. And she's 14. So there's nothing else that you're doing apart from being on your phone. So, and so my business partner's like, she doesn't want to go. I said, you need to Kris Jenner this, okay? You need to step in and Kris Jenner it. So you just need to take over and just, because you know it's going to be good for her. And if she doesn't like it for that one day, fine. She doesn't have to go again, but at least she did it for that one day. So in situations like that, when they just, it's either a bit because they just would rather be on their phones or it's just a bit of a lazy thing or whatever. I'm like, no, let's do this. Let's just try it out. But I also am a big believer on like, you know, they have to make mistakes and they have to learn from their losses because we all do.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn from the losses, that you're never going to learn and you're never going to grow and you're never going to understand what your boundaries are if you don't know what it was for someone to actually break those boundaries and make you feel uncomfortable or make you doubt something. So you need to know what that feels like in order to not feel like it again and in order to learn from it. It's definitely a mixture of that type of parenting that I'll do. I'll never make them feel like they are destitute and like alone. I'll always be there. But yeah, I can see it already. Like my younger, she's like, I don't want to do gymnastics anymore, which is fine because it costs an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, thank God. But also she's really good at it. And I think you only don't want to do it because some of your friends have moved on. Yeah. And so it's just like, what do I do in that situation? Do I force her to go? But then I don't want her to feel like I'm forcing her to do it. So I'm trying to just, they've got a 4-week break now. So I'm just trying to like stay off it for a little bit and then ease my way back into it and see how she feels. But then at the end of the day, if she doesn't want to do it, then we won't do it. But it's just understanding what those pitfalls are if they don't do something versus, you know, actually a gentle nudge in the right direction sometimes is what we all need.
The preschool that the kids were at, because my kids are 6 and 4, they're in big school now, but they would always kind of get there to preschool in the morning and the teachers would be like, make good choices. You know, make good choices was like that thing. And now I kind of echo that when I leave. I'm like, for the day, I'm like, just make good choices. And it's just making them aware that that even as children as young as that, they're making decisions. Yeah. They're deciding how to behave. They're deciding to pay attention.
Yeah. With their friendship groups as well. Yeah. I find that, especially because I've got 2 girls. So, you know, friendship groups are here, there and everywhere. And like, even with my youngest, I said to her the other day, how would you feel if that happened to you? Because she didn't invite someone to somewhere and then the girl felt a bit upset. And she's like, I don't know why she's upset. I said, well, how would you feel if you were left out? And so it's and then she felt really bad. Yeah. I was like, exactly. So this is, and so it's, I'm very big on that, like putting yourself in those shoes. But again, she had to learn that. And so now she makes sure that she invites who she needs to invite but if she didn't have that experience, she would have never have learned like, oh, she's really upset with me and felt that kind of like, oh God, I don't like that feeling.
I'm dreading the girls just getting into that kind of friendships and the girls and the dynamics that come. I'm like, because it was something I just really, really struggled with growing up.
I was the same, yeah.
I think they have it way worse now too.
Yeah.
Because at least we would like, if you got bullied or you had a bad day at school, you came home
and it was there.
It was there, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now
It follows you
everywhere. They can't escape it, especially young women. It's very, very difficult.
My son is very impressionable though, you know, and he's not more than once been called into the principal's office for blocking the toilets.
Nice.
But they go in packs, and I'm like, how first of all is the teacher letting 6-year-old boys go to the toilet together during class time?
What are they putting down the toilet?
Tissue? Yeah, toilet tissue, and then they're flushing the bathrooms. Like,
well, they weren't blocking it any other way.
No, going back to what's for dinner.
No, sorry, no. You know, and it's like I'm trying to kind of say, well, you know, first of all, you get, well, it wasn't me, it was so and so, and I'm like, yeah, but look, you all coordinated this bathroom visit at the same time.
Yeah,
you've all made the decision to go along with it, and you know, I'm like trying to talk to him about these decisions that he's making. I was like, you have, this is your decision, you know, you have autonomy of your decisions. Somebody hasn't made you do this. You've decided to participate in this, whether you were the instigator or not. There's a bit of a question mark over that, because it's quite likely you could have been the instigator.
That's the thing. You know your children.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because my eldest is an angel, and the youngest is the one that would be like, let's steal mum's car. Like, I can feel that that's what's going to happen. Whereas the oldest would be like, maybe we shouldn't. And the youngest would be like,
quick.
And I know exactly how it's going to go. I'm waiting for it, because I know that's exactly how it's going to go. And that's my fault, because I was a different parent raising her. And I think I was a bit more less, I was like, oh, whatever. Yeah. Because I'm so tired. Whatever, do it kind of vibe.
Yeah.
In your experience, though, so you've made some wonderful decisions. What's the most important thing you think you can impart on your girls? Especially like the life that and I'm asking just selfishly too, for my own kids, but like what do you think that the struggles they go through, what's one thing or two things or some characteristic you think that you wish you could,
I think, like,
level up on them?
Just say yes to everything. Like, I keep saying that. Like, just try it.
Just try it.
Try it. Okay, if you hate it, that's fine, but just try it. I say that to my girls. I say that to people, like we have interns that come into work. Just try it. At this age, just try it. And you might hate it, and that's absolutely fine, but at least you tried it. And you know, my career has almost been an accident. Like, but it's because I said yes to pretty much everything that was kind of given my way, whether it was in work, whether it was with the business, whether it was with, you know, having children. I said, yes, let's do it. Just try it. I know, like, and that's how you learn about boundaries. That's how you learn about what you like and what you don't like. And if you don't try it, then you're not living a life full. You're living a life that's kind of like, oh, I don't know. And it's again, that gift and the curse. You might try it and you might get really far. You might try it and you might fail. And if that's the case, that is the case. And no one wants to fail. Yeah. But you have to just try it. Just say yes. Just do it. See what happens.
I think sometimes we're guilty of overthinking things. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not you know, I don't want to do that because this could happen, that could happen, as if you can see the future, as if you know what's going to happen.
You have to just,
and fear of failure.
I remember and I said this on another podcast when I did a dancing event, dancing gig. I was auditioned to be a backup dancer for Tina Turner, some really random thing, and I got it.
Like the Tina Turner.
The Tina Turner.
We were talking earlier about how much I love Tina Turner.
I was like, it was for an advert, and they were flying everyone to Switzerland, and I remember I'd just given birth at the time, so I'd just given birth to the second child, Olivia, and my agent said, just it's for an advert, and you just need to go in and do some dance moves, and I was thinking,
please tell me it was Proud Mary.
It wasn't Proud Mary, but it was just very much like they just said to me, oh, can we see some dance moves? And so I just did some 60s, 70s dance moves that I could think of. I got the job, and in my head, I was thinking, I've just given birth. Like, how am I going to make this? How am I going to make this work and fly to Zurich to film it for like 4 days and fly? But I just said yes, and then I figured out the rest. Yeah. And had I not said yes, I wouldn't have had that experience. I wouldn't have been flown to Zurich. I wouldn't have met Tina Turner. I wouldn't have danced for her. And I wouldn't have got that 5K, which I needed at the time because I was freelance. It was £5,000. I was like, yes, I need this money. So I think like, you never know what the result's going to be. Like, just say yes and figure it out. And I think, especially with actors, they do this a lot. And whether you should or not, I don't know. But everyone has like their acting CV, and on there you write what you can do.
Can you ride a horse?
Can you ride a horse?
Absolutely.
Can you do this? And there's been some things that I've now taken off my CV, because I still have my acting CV. And I remember on there, obviously I'm Jamaican heritage, and so it has accents. And so what accents can you do? So obviously I can do London accent. I could probably do like a Liverpudlian accent if I tried, in Australia, like really random ones. And on there was Jamaican, and I wish I'd never put it on there, because then I got invited for an audition for a Jamaican play, and they wanted a Jamaican accent. And I was like, well, I'd practiced with my mum doing the bit that they sent us in the Jamaican accent, so it wasn't so bad. But then when I got there, they were like, "Oh, don't worry about the size. No, we just want to talk to you in a Jamaican accent."
Oh,
I was like, when I say I'm literally tearing up now, because the embarrassment is making me feel, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And so they said to me, and I cannot do a Jamaican accent for the life of me. So it was just the most embarrassing thing. And they said in their Jamaican accent, "So how did you get here today?" And I was like, "Me walk." And they were like. And in my head, I was thinking, just keep it very short and very concise. Don't expand. And they were like, "Oh yeah, so you walked? That's how you got here?" And I went, "Mm-hmm." And they were like, "Okay, like, just how's your day been?" I was like, "Yeah, man."
Oh no.
And I just thought, you know what, this is just it. And then they were like, "Okay, thank you." And I thought, thank God, that's over. I went straight home, took it off the CV. I was like, there are some things that you can't fake. And so again, I tried it. I learned that this wasn't the road for me. I know now my boundaries. I took it off. Jamaican accent, no, I can't do. So yeah.
oh my gosh. You throw me now. I'm like, oh.
Just somewhere in the world, those two people talking. You're like, remember that?
Do you remember that girl, that fake Jamaican who said she was Jamaican? Like, I you know, I think about it often, like how bad it was. And I know these, I don't know the director, but the directors are people that I see like on Instagram and stuff like that. I pray to God that they don't remember me, because it was so embarrassing.
Was it
so
recorded?
bad. It probably was. So if I ever become, huge and famous, I'm sure that they'll show it one day. Like, it'll come out like, Natalie Duvall can't do an accent. But yeah, I never again, ever.
Oh man, it's so good. I keep thinking of like Joey from Friends.
Oh,
He
yeah.
tries to do his French,
Or when he does the dance, when he says that he's a big dancer.
Yeah.
So they expect him to like do this whole choreography, and he just does like a head move kind of thing. But we do that. You fake it till you make it. At the end of the day, because you need to find a way to kind of to get ahead, and everyone's CV does a lot more than it needs to. Kind of vibe. Like even on the weekend, we were working with some young people who came to work with us on March Muses stuff, and all we were doing was we've got a storage unit, so we were just unpacking and sorting stuff out. And my business partner, who's got a recruitment background, was like, "So on your CV, you can put inventory management." And I'm like, "So smart, yes." And they were like, "Yeah." So, and all they were doing was unpacking stuff, but yeah, it was inventory management. Yeah. So we all kind of flourish what experience we have to kind of to get ahead.
Going back to that kind of whole fake it till you make it, I'm a big Mel Robbins fan, and it's just like, she's just like, it's stepping into the person that you want to become, stepping into the role
that manifestation, isn't it?
Yeah,
you've got to see it and believe it and almost feel it in order to become it.
Yeah,
except for accents.
Yes,
except for accents. So you just fundamentally can't do it.
I'm not going to try.
To be fair, it'd be me trying to sing. Like, it's just not happening.
Can you do an Irish accent though?
No, awful.
But you're Irish, right?
My dad.
Your dad is Irish. And does he have an Irish accent?
No.
My mum doesn't, but I can always tell who she's talking to on the phone. So like, she has a UK RP kind of accent like mine, but she can do a Jamaican accent, because obviously my grandma was fully Jamaican. So and like literally fresh off the boat kind of vibe. So she can do a Jamaican accent, and I can always tell, like, I can tell if she's talking to an auntie, if she's talking to someone who maybe isn't black, if she's talking to like the doctors, like I could just, and we all do that. Yeah. And you don't actually realize that we all change ourselves. Like, it's that code switch that you do. Like, who are you at work versus who are you at home versus who are you with your friends? Like, we all have that ability to make that decision to be like, okay, this is the Natalie for here now, and this is that, and you're all that same person. It is still you, but you just adapt to the different scenarios that you're in. And this is what I talk to when I speak to like some of the young people, especially young Black and brown people who are trying to enter into the corporate world, where there are less of us in that corporate setting. And they're like, oh, but I don't want to be someone that I'm not. I'm like, but you're always going to be you. It's just, who are you in this setting versus who are you going to be at home with your boys versus who are you going to be with your mum. Like, I'm sure you don't talk to your mum the same way you talk to your boys.
Yeah.
That's the mentality you need to have. No one's telling you to not be you. Just think about the setting that you're in and how can you adapt to it.
Yeah.
So definitely. Big learnings there.
He's always like, your accent's completely changed since you're in England versus when we're in Asia.
Breathe something in, and
but when we're in Asia, it just neutralizes
the
accent. The Manc particularly, like, just neutralizes.
Yeah.
You know, we're speaking to people from kind of all over Asia, and I think that's the beauty of Singapore, right? It's such a melting pot of so many different people there from all over the world that you kind of have to neutralize it a little bit. If I came out with the thick Manc, I just couldn't get anywhere. Couldn't get anywhere. But it's nice to be home.
Yeah,
and
I can imagine. Yeah,
and it's funny when you hear a Northerner, like you're anywhere in Asia, you'll just hear a Northerner from the other side of the room, and I'm like, that person from Manchester, that's a Scouser. Oh, you know, there's a Geordie. You just know.
You gravitate towards it.
You're like, I need a chat.
Yeah. And it feels like home.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you see that, and it feels like home. I've got a few friends who have moved from London to like America, and they've got that transatlantic accent.
Yeah.
Where they don't even hear it themselves. And I'm like, it's the inflections at the end. You're like, so I was going to the park, and I was like, the park. Yeah, the park. And I'm like, it sounds so, you can hear the difference, right? And they're like, they can't hear it, but yeah, they had that kind of that mix.
Just coming up from more of the kind of D&I side, from the work that you do, and it was the emotional cost of not making a decision for authenticity, like within businesses, within kind of bigger companies.
When we did, so with Black Mums Upfront, amazing podcast, and obviously in 2020 there was a huge Black Lives Matter moment. So our podcast was pushed to the front, and we had so many brands kind of contacting us, being like, oh, we'd love to work with you, which was amazing. And we actually said no to quite a few of them because of, and although they were trying to make change, for us it just didn't feel authentic, and it didn't feel enough. And I remember we also worked with like a few brands that we were happy to work with, but we were very much like, it does need to be on these terms. So we worked with a beauty brand, and they're like one of the biggest ones in the business, but they also had a skin lightening cream that we just didn't gel with. And so we were just like, we'll do this, but these are our caveats. This is what we need to be able to talk about. And we are going to be talking about skin lightening and creams and bleaching as part of this conversation, because for us, that's where the authenticity comes from. Like, we're not just endorsing this product, which is amazing. We're still talking about the balconies and the basements of each thing. And that's what you get when you get from us. It was real talk. So whenever we did take on a brand deal, it was always like, yes, but also we're going to caveat it with this real, like, this isn't an advert, this is real conversation. Some brands loved it, and some were like, oh, sorry, no, it's a bit scary. And then we were like, that's fine, we don't need to work with you. So I think especially when you're offered something, especially when the money's really good as well, it takes a lot to have morals. And sometimes you're like, oh, are my morals that important? And you're like, oh, it is. And it is hard to say no, but sometimes you have to. And even with my eldest right now, she stopped eating a certain fast food chain because of their affiliation with what's going on at the moment with, you know, Palestine and stuff like that. And she has kept it strong. She has not faltered, and she's never going back. And so that willpower of something that is very easily accessible, that you could just, when you're hungry, just go and grab. She's like, nope, I'm not doing it. And so I just love seeing the filter down effect. And that's her taking a stand on her, just for herself. But she, like, that's her building her morals. And I'm loving watching that build.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Because I think, for young people too, like apathy is so easy now, right? But those decisions matter. They count.
I just kind of actually want to touch on that because it's almost felt seasonal. Like, Black Lives Matter, it was so important.
It was a trend.
Yeah.
It was a trend. We were trending without a doubt. And, I'm not a trend. I'm Black every day.
Yeah.
So it's that thing. Like, I have this love-hate relationship with Black History Month. I love it because it gets to platform Black talent, Black people, Black history, Black legacy. But also I hate it because I'm Black every month. Yeah. And we should be doing this every month. It shouldn't just be in October in England, February in America. It should just be, all throughout. And it's because I can't change that. What I make sure I'm a school governor at my daughter's school, so I can help with how the curriculum is, and so I make sure that Black history is embedded throughout the year. So that's me again, rather than saying no, adding to my plate, becoming a school governor and help implement that this kind of Black history should be in January and in July and in June and not just October, and which is what they started doing. They've implemented it all throughout. So yes, they might highlight a bit more in October, but actually throughout the year there's been a constant thread, and that's what I think is quite important.
No, I love that you are quick to action, an instigator of change. It's not just sitting there going, oh, that trend's over and be pissed off about it. It's like, no, I'm going to do something about it.
I'm very lucky with like the people around me as well that inspire me. So I became a school governor because my friend was a school governor, and I didn't even think about it. And she was like, you just need to just be there and just be a voice and also be a sounding board for the principal. And I was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so it's because of her that I became a school governor. And actually you realise, this is a great opportunity to shape not only young minds, but to help the teachers who do a phenomenal job. And I will always think that, because I go back to the 2020 and when we were being the teachers, and I did a terrible job at trying to educate my children during COVID. So I think it's such a great position to just help implement a bit of change that you can do, because you can't fix everything. So what can you do in your small pocket? And I'll say this, anyone could be a school governor as long as you're over 18. You don't need to have children. You could just call up your local authority and see what positions are in schools, and they all need school governors. They all need help. They all need different skill sets from different backgrounds. So yeah, definitely look it up.
I think that's so important too. It's not just like one decision to have like one day to celebrate something. It's decisions throughout the whole course of the year.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize because sometimes you think with all these different things that are happening and inclusion, like I thought women in the workplace was way further ahead. But we had the guest on.
Yeah.
Penny, right?
Penny Lacasso, yeah.
Oh, it's such a good episode. And she said, based on current trends, it won't hit gender equality in the workforce for 160.
For another 6 generations.
The pay gap is silly, yeah.
6 generations.
Because the news and the media covers some of this stuff, and you think like, oh, we're doing good. Like, I confess, I thought things were going quite well.
I mean, it's better, but it's not.
No.
That's 6 generations. Like,
but it's the same thing though. It's like, whether it's pride, whether it's women's, or whether it's whatever it is, whether it's kind of Black Lives Matter, it's like it becomes such a thing that all of a sudden everyone's like, okay, we need to do our token event. We need to that all of a sudden it becomes a marketing or an internal checklist or a PR checklist. It's something about we tick down the box, we've done that this year, and there's no real meaning or real change that comes from it.
And this is what you're finding with Black Lives. There's we talk about decision-making fatigue. There's allyship fatigue. They are tired of being allies. They're like, we've done Black Lives Matter. We gave you 2 years. We still need to carry on talking about it. Like, it's exhausting. And I get it, because it's sometimes exhausting just being Black and experiencing all of this. But it's that fatigue is real. But you always, I think, when we talk about these things, you just have to hit them with the stats. One of my favorite stats that I've been talking about, and me and my business partner talk about, is that mixed heritage is the fastest growing demographic in the UK right now.
Yeah.
So by 2028, 1 in 5 of us are going to be from a mixed family. That when you hear that, you're like, right. So diversity needs to be at the top of the list, because at one point we're all going to be mixed, and we're all going to know, like, it's that 6 degrees of separations. We're all going to have a family that has that mixed heritage thing going on. And so when you think about the stats like that, you realize that actually these are what we need to make sure are not novelty, but they're normal.
Yeah.
Like, this is why we need to normalize women's football. We need to normalize women in the workplace. We need to normalize women having children later. We need to, like, it shouldn't be a novelty thing.
I could listen to you talk all day. You've got to come back and do a part 2. Natalie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been such a brilliant conversation. For everyone listening and watching, we will share all of Natalie's links below. And if you've got any questions, please just add in the comments. We'll all respond.
And if you're celebrating Christmas, check us out.
Yeah.
We ship globally. So yeah.
Amazing. We always kind of end this podcast by just saying, make every decision count. And we hope that this conversation has given you something to think about in, that your decisions do have weight, they have impact, they have meaning. We're overloaded with the amount of decisions that we're making. Try to make a little bit more intentional. Try to make them more intentionally. And also know that you've got a finite number of quality decisions you can make in the day. So spend them wisely.
Yeah, no matter how big or how small.
Make them count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.